Obviously, really proud of our team. As I said Saturday night, not much has changed from my thoughts post game. Again, just really proud that we made it to the game and then executed within the game as well as we did. And but that I reminded our guys yesterday, our goal was not to get to one game. Our goal is to win championships, and that was whatever it is. 1 out of 13 is 7%, I think, something like that. So we've still got a long season ahead of us, and I'm sure a lot of ups and downs and roadblocks in the way that we'll have to overcome. But to get through game one and play as well as we did I was really, really proud. Injury update. Jordan Whittington has a small tear of his lateral meniscus. He'll have surgery here in the next couple days. To nothing to repair, we don't think. So really just a snip and clean out. I'm being told 3 to 4 weeks. So plan to have him back for most of conference play. So that was good news. And Josh Thompson got too many stitches to count in his ear. I don't know if anybody's seen pictures of it. It's pretty gruesome to think that happened inside of a helmet. It was a little bit scary, but he's doing better. Was here yesterday practicing, and everybody else, Delhi did not play but was cleared to play. Held him out for precautionary reasons, just us as a staff wanting him to feel confident and ready to go in 2 weeks. We expect Jake Smith to get back. His rehab is going great, and I think other than that, we're moving right along. Today will be a normal Monday in terms of being an off day, and then we'll get back to the field tomorrow. Questions?
Raise your hand if you have a question, and we'll go ahead and get to you.
Well, that was quick.
John, go ahead. You had a question?
Hey, Coach, after the game, Sam Ehlinger talked about being disappointed because he left some throws out there. What did you think of his performance, and were you disappointed with it?
Not in the performance as a whole. Anytime you throw for 424 yards and a half and 5 touchdowns, that's a pretty good day at the office. But, yeah, there was a few that I can see why he said what he said, because there was a few that he would like to have back, whether it was an errant throw or a misread. But, I mean, those were only a couple compared to, the numerous really good reads and great throws that he made. So, as a whole, I thought he played great, but I can certainly see where he would be disappointed in the few ones that he left out there.
Anwar, go ahead.
Coach, I got 2 questions for you. The first one is about B.J. Foster. He got a little upset and left during the middle of the game. I'm curious as to how you guys are handling him in that situation going forward.
Yeah, well, B.J. obviously let his frustrations get the best of him and was very contrite, very apologetic, and we'll handle the discipline in-house, and he knows what he did was wrong, and letting his frustration get the best of him. It's okay to be frustrated, but we've got to be able to control our actions, and he realizes that, and again is very apologetic, and we'll serve his penance internally, and it'll be water under the bridge for us and his team.
Mike, you're up.
Well, hang on. Anwar said he had 2 questions.
Yeah,
Oh, now we muted him.
Okay. The second question surrounded the run game, and what did you think of the run game, and what did you particularly think of what the offensive line, especially on that right side, now that you've seen the film?
Just okay. I thought the running backs ran well. I thought, it certainly was not the emphasis in the first half for us. We wanted to make sure that, we feel really, really good about our 3 tailbacks, and we wanted to make sure that a lot of these receivers who would be playing in their first game or first game in a long time, in a case like Josh Moore, for the University of Texas, we wanted to make sure that those guys got untracked and got in a rhythm and felt comfortable. And so that was a pretty big emphasis early in the game. And then, like I said, the run game was just okay. You could tell the O-line was a bit rusty, but, I'm confident moving forward that the small little details that might have made a 5-yard gain, a 12-yard gain, that those are easily correctable. And as far as the right side's concerned, yeah, I thought they played just fine. Christian had about a 3-play series there where he struggled a little bit, but other than those 3 plays, thought he played pretty well for his first start.
Mike, do you have a question?
Yeah, I had to change. We got somebody cutting yard next door to me. Coach, obviously, a lot happened over the weekend. You guys played well. A lot of receivers got a lot of touches this past weekend. Is this a plan that you guys are looking to spread the ball out for all the weapons that you have? The running game was great. I mean, you had a perfect game plan, it seemed. Is that something that y'all are going to be looking forward to doing here in the near future?
I don't think that you ever go in and say, hey, we want 7 receivers to catch touchdown passes. We want 10 different guys to catch passes. In the flow of the game and guys rotating in and out. We've got this year, maybe more than any since we've been here, we've got a bunch of guys that deserve to play at wide receiver. So I do think you're going to see more guys with a catch or two in most games, but I don't think you ever say, hey, we're going to spread the wealth, or we're going to only focus on one guy, or it just in the course of the game, and every week's game plan is a little bit different. So, but again, I'm excited knowing that we have 6, 7 guys that deserve to play and deserve to play quite regularly, and but again, there's only one ball too, and we're dependent on the game plan, the flow of the game, the defense that you're playing, who's healthy, who's not quarantined this year. There's a lot of variables that go into it.
Brian, you're up.
Tom, on Jordan, with the bye week, and then are you expecting to get him back for TCU maybe, or is it Oklahoma?
3 to 4 weeks is what I was told, so I haven't even done the math to know what game that would be.
Okay, and then but just more on the receivers as a whole. I mean, having Jake and Jordan down in any game is not good, especially at a position that is perceived to be thin. How good was it to have 7 different guys catch touchdown passes at a position that probably needed a shot of confidence?
Well, it was really good, and again, credit to Coach Yursich and the offensive staff for making that a big emphasis early in the game, and wanting very consciously to get those guys involved and to get their feet wet. And so I think it's a really good sign. I don't know that we've got maybe the 1 or 2 dominant players that we've had in years past, and that's okay. We'll adjust to where we've got 6 or 7 really, really, really good players, and they're all going to play, and like I've said before, the defense will tell us where the ball goes too. Once that ball's snapped, the defense can play whatever coverage they decide to play, and we've got a really good reader of defenses back there in Sam Ellinger, and he'll get the ball to the open guy, and we have a lot of confidence in our receivers that 1, that they will get open, and 2, that when Sam does find them when they're open, that they'll make the play.
Go ahead, Cedric.
Tom, you were really high on your defensive line entering the season, and they seem, so from ours, they played great in the opener. How did they grade out in film study, particularly the area kid Alfred Collins?
Yeah, Joseph was our co-defensive player of the game with DeMarvion. So Joseph had a great game in terms of making stops, making tackles, being in the right place at the right time. And then, like I told you, I think, we've got some depth issues on the edge, with having to move with Jacoby Jones out for the game, having to move Reese Lato to end away from the jack position that he'd been playing. And we still got quite a bit of production out of those guys, out of Reese, Morrow, and Jet Bush. But the crew that I've been very, very impressed with are those inside guys, and to say that we're too deep, that is probably an understatement. I think there's also guys, the Daniel Carsons, the Sawyer Gorham Welches of the world that could come in and contribute as well. But those top four guys, in Keandre and Tavondre and Taquan and Alfred, are four bona fide dudes in there, and I was really happy with the way that they played. And Alfred in particular, he did a few things in terms of missed assignments and improper technique, but you certainly felt his presence throughout the game when he was in there.
Kirk, you're up.
Yeah, Tom, with the injuries to Jake Smith, and I know you say he's getting better, and now Jordan Whittington, do you expect Kai Money to play even more? And that's got to be a made-up name, right? That's not his real name, right?
I thought it was made up too when we first met, but no, that's his real name, Kai Money, and he was certainly the personification of his last name Saturday night, so that was good. But are you guys getting that feedback that I'm hearing too? Yeah, I'm not a technical guy, but that is kind of a pain in the butt there. But I'll try to talk softer. But no, I think Kai has proven that he's a guy that can really, really help us. And, if circumstances dictate, we have no problem putting him in the game and knowing that he'll deliver.
Greg, you're up.
Tom, following up on the question about receivers, I was just kind of curious what the process is like for a guy, and I'll use Brendan Schooler as an example, for the turnaround for a guy that lands on campus in a couple of weeks, the process that he goes through to get a guy ready to play in that amount of time and then have him to be able to contribute the way he did.
Well, it's full immersion in the offense. Andre Coleman and the offensive staff did a great job with him, getting him ready. But the credit really belongs to Brendan and his commitment level to being game ready by the first game. And, it was, when you're a grad transfer, you got a lot of time to study the playbook, to get with your coach, to do all the extra things necessary, watch a ton of film. And, let's not downplay the fact Brendan's a very smart guy too, and he's played a lot of football. That's one thing when you get grad transfers from programs like Oregon or Michigan. They've played football at the highest of levels. They've played in some very complex offenses and have played on some very big stages as well. So that is big time, plus for graduate transfers is just the experience level, not just, hey, the guy caught 20 balls. That's in his career. It's more about, hey, the guy learned 3 different offenses in 4 years, or the guy, ran down on kickoff in the Michigan-Ohio State game, or those are big deals. And anytime you get a grad transfer, especially with the mental capacity that Schooler and Black have, those guys are going to assimilate pretty quickly.
Steve, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I'll go back to the old adage that you guys always use about how you learned more about your team after the first game, from week 1 to week 2. What exactly did you think you learned from your team in the opening week? And then how do you mitigate, the guys being so high after playing so well in the game Saturday night? Do you have to turn to your team leaders to make them kind of grab a hold of the younger players?
No. I mean, the veterans were all here last year when we beat Louisiana Tech, whatever it was, 47-10 or whatever it was. So we all realized that game ones, although the outcome being what it was Saturday night, sure beats the alternative. I'm not saying we would prefer it to be any other way, but I also think that we're extremely mature group that realizes that this was one game against a Conference USA opponent, a non-conference opponent that allowed us to get better, allowed us to get a lot of guys some experience, allowed us to work a lot of things full speed, maybe that we haven't gotten very many reps at full speed, but I think we all know that we're going to be in some serious dogfights throughout the remainder of the season, and we're proud of the way that we played, but we know we've got a lot of work to do. And what did I find out about our team in the first week? I think the thing that I was impressed the most with was the effort level. I thought, with everything going on in the world, with their off season being what it was, with there only being 20-25% fans in the stands, with it being a non-conference game, I did think that there had all the makings for a bit of a slow start, a bit of needing to kick maybe some guys in the butt metaphorically, and we didn't. In fact, it was quite the opposite. Our guys came out with a lot of energy, a lot of passion, a lot of intensity, and it showed. Then we reaped the benefits of it as a program, and I think not only are the coaches proud, but I think more importantly the players are proud and are very aware of now what they're capable of if they play at this level of intensity and passion week in and week out. I mean, we got a ton of small things, little details to fix, but had we played with poor effort, that would have been a tough ask to fix that. And we didn't. We played with great effort. We tackled well, and those are things that we can really build on.
Danny, you're up.
I muted you, John, because you were the source of the feedback. Hang on.
Danny, you're up.
There you go.
Tom, in addition to Kai obviously having his moments, Court started for you guys on Saturday. You just mentioned Jet Bush. How important is your walk-on program, and how much do you invest in your walk-on program?
A lot. I mean, it's extremely important. We invest a ton. It was one of the things that when we got here, we were surprised, to be honest with you, at what kind of shape it was in. It was not in very good shape, and I credit Mike Perrin a lot for helping us, stress to the powers that be how important getting quality walk-ons into our program is. And at an academic institution with the academic prowess that the University of Texas that can be a challenge. I know it was for us at Rice, and I know it has been here in the past. And we've got two guys that are in charge of it. That John Michael Jones does a great job in our recruiting department. That's kind of his baby when it comes to the identification and recruitment of those guys. And then Bob Shipley, once those guys get here and want to try out, he kind of handles all the organization part of it. So hats off to both those guys. But and then obviously Mike Perrin for really stressing to the powers that be the importance of having a quality walk-on program. And it's pretty cool to see, one guy start, his second game in a row in Court Jaquist, and then obviously Jet Bush played a ton for us, made a bunch of plays, made some tackles, and then Kai Money to be the first offensive walk-on to score a touchdown, in 15 years. I think we're headed in the right direction with that program.
Joe, you're up. Tom, after installing the new tackling system and tackling methodology in the offseason, what were your impressions on its first live action against another opponent this past week?
Really good. I don't know that it's – well, I do know. It's not any different than what we were teaching it. We're just teaching it better. And we've got some really good drills. We spend time tackling every day, whether we're in shorts, whether we're in shorts and shoulder pads, whether we're in full pads. We're going to do some kind of tackling drill every day. And the kids have really bought in, and it showed. I thought we tackled really well.
Chip, you got a question? Chip, you got a question?
Yeah, Tom, what as far as the competition and probably using BJ as a reference point here, but the great teams have a lot of great players at each position. What's the message in terms of the competition that you expect to have that maybe you do have?
No message. We've recruited at a pretty high level in the last 3 years, and this is what happens when you recruit and develop at the level that we have. Is you're going to have multiple guys at multiple positions that are capable of going in and contributing and playing at a championship level. So I'm really excited to see that kind of three-man rotation that we have at safety right now with, let's not forget Montrell Estelle and Tyler Owens and even Jaron Thompson back there at safety. I'm excited to see the four-man rotation we have at corner, and how that plays out throughout the year. I think you're going to see quite a few linebackers play. And then, obviously you guys saw the receivers and tight ends and running backs. So, we're slowly but surely getting to the point where you feel good about, especially on defense, to play 80, 90, 100 snaps a game. I mean, we had, I think, Brandon Jones, and if my memory serves me, he went back-to-back years with something like 1,200 game snaps per year, so close to 2,500 game snaps in 2 years. That takes its toll on your body throughout the season, but really throughout the game too. If you've got an opportunity, for a guy like DeMarvion, let's say, or a guy like Caden Stearns, to go out there and play X number of series and then be able to catch his breath, for a series or two in the second and third quarter and be that much fresher in the fourth quarter, I think is going to pay huge dividends in the course of a game. And then obviously the amount of wear and tear on a young man's body, I think, having that kind of depth certainly helps as you get towards the end of the season, as we unfortunately, found out last year. Hopefully we won't be in that situation this season.
Brian, you're up.
Yeah, Tom, I actually want to build on Chip's question. When you got here, you didn't have 40 or 50 championship quality players. Now
we had some. Remember that, Kurt?
Well, I wasn't going to say that.
We had
yes,
some.
That was the joke. That's the joke I like. But now you got walk-on scoring touchdowns. You got grad transfers coming in here contributing. You've got a solid overall nucleus, and you got players who are pissed off they're not playing enough. I mean, what does that say about where you have taken the overall quality of the roster itself?
That's for you guys to decide. We feel like we're doing what we're supposed to do at Texas, which is recruit at a very high level, a level, compared to the elite teams in college football, and then, develop them. And you're finally seeing, again, what we've been talking about for 4 years, that it takes time. And, we're still certainly not a finished product. We played one game, against a non-conference opponent. So we are very confident in ourselves, but I also don't want 59-3 against UTEP to be the high water mark either, and I think we all know that, especially when you look around the country, that the game could have gone differently, and I think the way that the game went is a sign that we're headed in the right direction, and that the things we've been talking about preseason are all things that are attainable for us. But we've got to keep going. We've got a lot of room for improvement. But yeah, we have. When you take over a program that was at a place that this program was when we took it over, and in order to build a sustainable championship caliber program and roster, it's going to take time. It's going to take recruiting at an elite level, developing at an elite level, and you just keep plugging away, and you keep plugging away, and you keep plugging away. And we've done that for 4 years now, and we like where we're headed. We hadn't done really anything yet except win a non-conference game, but I think we all kind of see what we're capable of, and see what I think everybody sees the progression, right? And and we talk about this all the time, that the line of progress is sometimes, most oftentimes, not very linear. Right, but as long as you stay in the direction that you're going, sometimes it's going to do this a few times, and last year was one of these. We were doing this, and then last year we hit a bunch of injuries, and we were not prepared to play as many young guys, and so we did kind of this. But now you see us, head back in the right direction. So when we started, the plot line, if you will, has always been heading in the right direction. Now, has it been one straight line to get there? No, and it never really is in any program in the country. And it took Coach Brown 7 years, I think, to win his first conference championship here, something like that. So we understand that progress is being made. And we're excited about where we're at, and we understand that in this crazy year that is 2020, that there's a lot of things that can be thrown our way that could potentially derail that a little bit, or alter that line of progress a little bit. But we're hell bent on making sure that those things don't happen, and that we stay right on path the course that we set out 4 years ago.
Got time for two last ones, Cedric, then Danny.
Yeah, Tom, I know it's a unique bye week in that it presents an elevated group of social responsibilities compared to other seasons. How confident are you in your players and your leadership council that things will stay on the straight and narrow till you guys head to Lubbock?
Really confident. I got to be honest with you, Cedric, and I may wake up tomorrow and it bite me in the you know what. But when I look around and I read the news of what other teams are dealing with all across the country, I tell our guys every day how proud I am of them every day, and it's them. They're doing it. It's nothing. Yeah, we're educating and we're telling them, and we're stressing the importance of being diligent and taking care of each other as well as yourself. But I'm sure other teams, other coaching staffs across the country are saying the same thing. And our level of buy-in by our players, and it's not just a matter of belief and buy-in, it's a matter of then you got to go do it. And doing it is the hard part, because it is so inconvenient, it is so abnormal. The things that these guys have to do to maintain a level of security within our program, it's difficult, and it's going to continue to get difficult, probably get even more difficult. And but the original question was how confident I am that we can maintain this level of diligence. I'm extremely confident, knowing what I've seen here the last 6-7 weeks.
Last one, go ahead, Danny.
Tom, when you and Mike looked at the film, what did you think of how your backup quarterbacks played? And is DeQuindon going to be available this season, or are you planning to sit him and let him recover for a year?
He is medically available. I would think JJ would be the first to tell you he's not quite there yet from a confidence standpoint to go out and do the things that he does well. So I think we'll play that as it goes and just kind of judge by his confidence level. He had a great day yesterday in 7-on-7. So we'll see. We're kind of easing him into more and more, bodies being around him and stuff like that, and he's getting more and more comfortable with that. So again, it's kind of a free year when it comes to eligibility, so you don't have to worry about 4 games or what game and red shirt, not red shirt, any of that stuff. So I'd like to get JJ into a game at some point, hopefully multiple games, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys. Hook 'em.